Very warm and glossy good morning to everyone. Here we are starting with political science, class 12, lesson number 1, challenges of nation building. Dear learners, this year in class 12 you are having 2 books. First book is called Indian Politics. Just a minute, huh? Okay, with the lesson number 1. I also want to introduce you that this year in political science you are having 2 books. First one is Indian Politics and second book is World Politics. In Indian Politics as well as in World Politics you would be studying the time period right after 1950s. Okay, the time after 1950s was the time which was very significant at the Indian level as well as at the international level too. Okay, so in Indian Politics you are going to study this year the duration of time, the political events, right from the India's independence of 1947 up to the time of 2014. Okay, so this 70 years duration would be covered in the consequent chapters. Okay, so lesson number 1 of the Indian Politics, which is your first book, tells you India's story just after independence. That's why the lesson has been named as Challenges of the Nation Building. So, first of all, we begin that India got its independence on August 15, 1947. Okay, clear? So, right after 15th August 1947. What kind of challenges, what kind of situations, what kind of problems India had been facing? How did it start working as an independent nation? We will see that in this lesson as well as in the next 2 lessons. Okay, clear? So, first of all, India's independence. It's very simple, you all know. 15th August 1947. India got free from 200 years slavery. Okay, from the Britishers it got freedom. Is it okay? It was the day for which Indians had been waiting for. Okay, it was the day for which they had been struggling for a long period. Okay, you have studied in your junior classes about the freedom struggle of 1857. Okay, you have studied in class 10th also about the national movement. Okay, Gandhi emergence and then NCM, then CDM, then Quit India movement, and then many of the movements, many of the leaders' contribution you have studied, many of the revolutionaries' contribution you have studied. Okay, almost everyone. May they be revolutionaries, may they be moderates, may they be extremists, may they be pacifists, okay, all strands of people who were running the movement, of India's independence, okay, they had some common vision that what kind of nation they wanted to make, okay, and so after 15th August 1947, the time has come to India of the dreams of those leaders. Okay, of those leaders who had contributed a lot towards India's freedom, who had sacrificed their lives, who had went to jail for several times. Okay, according to their dreams, India had to be made upon. Okay, so there was two goals, especially there was two goals almost everyone agreed upon, that what kind of nation we would make after the end of colonialism, after getting independence, after 15th August 1947. What kind of nation we would make? Regarding that, there were two goals on which everyone agreed upon. May they be pacifists, may they be extremists, may they be liberals, may they be moderates, may they be any other strand of thought. Okay, about all these thoughts, pacifists, extremists, I have cleared you in the 11th standard. Yeah, okay, so we move ahead. That which were the two goals on which everyone agreed upon. Okay, first goal was that, first goal on which everyone agreed upon, first goal was that India should be a democratic country. Okay, first we clear it. Okay, you all know it very well that just before 1947 India had been under colonialism, as well as some parts of the country were being ruled by the prestige, by the royal households, by the kings, queens, nawabs, etc. Is it okay? Clear? So now, after 15th August 1947, when India had been getting free, when India was getting free from the colonial rule, now the leaders of the independent India wanted to choose the path of democracy. So this was the first goal on which everyone of the leaders, of the young leaders, agreed upon, that India would be a democratic country, India would be choosing the path of democracy. Okay, clear? Second goal was that India would be accommodating all the diversities. May they be the diversity of the religion, diversity of the region, diversity of the communities, diversity of the areas, those all should be adjusted in the independent India. Clear? So first goal of all the leaders, that what kind of the nation they wanted to make was that it should be democratic. It should be democratic. Okay. Second was that all the type of diversity, may they be of religion, may they be of community, may they be of the regions, may they be of any other type. Okay, those all should be accommodated. Okay, there shall be no further division of the country. That was the aim behind it. We'll discuss it more in the coming topics. Okay, so this was the beginning. This was the beginning goals. This was the primary situation just after independence. Clear? So now let us discuss. Let us move to the next topic. Next subtopic of this lesson, that is the challenges before independent India. India got freedom on 15th August 1947. So now we are going to discuss what were the challenges before the newly independent country. broadly, there were three challenges before newly independent India. Number one, first and foremost challenge before newly independent India was to shape a nation which was united. Okay, means on 15th August 1947, we didn't get a united India, we got a divided India. Okay, let me clear you. First we'll discuss this and then we'll move ahead. Okay, don't worry. So first challenge before independent India was to shape a nation which was united. What does this mean? It means that on 15th August 1947, the part of the country which was declared independent was not organized. Okay, it was in the independent India which Britishers had handed over to the Constituent Assembly of the India was not united. Okay, some parts of it were being ruled by the princes, like the Prince of Jodhpur, like the Queen of Awadh, like the Nawab of Hyderabad, okay, like the Nawab of Junagadh, okay, like Maharaja of Kashmir, okay, they had been ruling in some parts of the country. Okay, first thing, clear? Some parts of the country were under the direct control of Britishers. Okay, that had been handed over directly to the Constituent Assembly. So some parts were being ruled by the princes, queens or nawabs, or some parts were directly being handed over to the Constituent Assembly as independent country. So now the first and foremost challenge before independent India was to shape a united nation which respects the diversity as well as accommodate all the different strengths of the country and further ensures the unity, okay, in these different diverse strengths. May they be of the region, may they be of the religion, may they be of the other kinds of strengths. Okay, that should be that yet to be accommodated. Okay, means on 15th August 1947 we did not get a united India. It was partly ruled by princes, it was partly ruled by nawabs, it was partly ruled by queens, and some parts were being in the direct control of the Britishers, which were handed over later on to the Constituent Assembly as the interim government of the country. Okay, so now the first and foremost challenge was to accommodate all these diverse regions, and the unification of the country was to be worked upon. Clear? So first and foremost challenge was to shape a nation which was united. Means, in simple words, I'll say that interim government which had taken charge from the Britishers, okay, had to work upon the unification of the country, had to make the princes, nawabs, queens who had been ruling in some parts of the country, okay, may it be Nawab of Hyderabad, may it be ruler of Kashmir, may it be Junagadh's prince, okay, they had to be adjusted, they had to be made agree that they are going to merge their territory for the unification of the country. Clear? So that was to be worked upon. Okay, so this was the first challenge. Is that okay? Clear? Now we move to the second challenge of the country. So as obvious, the second challenge was, which we discussed as the first goal. What was the first goal? On which every leader of the national movement agreed upon? That independent India should continue with the democracy. Is it? Are you getting my point? So second challenge was to make the democratic practices on the ground floor, to establish democratic practices on in a realistic situation in the country. You all know that India till 1947 had been ruled either by Britishers or by princely states. So up to that time, Indians were not being experiencing the democracy. They had heard the word of democracy, but the normal Indians, but for ordinary Indian, what was democracy they were not aware of. Okay, it was a word for them. Okay, it was only a mere word for them. Okay, so Indian leaders had to establish the democratic practices on ground. What does that mean? This simply means shaping up of the constituency. This simply means preparation, setting up of the election commission. This simply means introducing the concept of voter lists, okay, and creating a scene of elections. Clear? So this was to be established on ground. In that country where 17 crore eligible voters were there, out of them 75% were illiterate. Okay, you would surprise that in 1951 when election took place, there were around 17 crore eligible voters and out of them 75% were illiterate. Is it? So as obvious, you would consider here that this was going to be a great challenge for independent India to make the democratic practices, to make the democratic type of system established on ground. It was really, it proved very difficult, means setting up of the election commission, then its process, then preparation of the voter list, then making people habitual that how they could cast vote and what way they should cast vote. Okay, who would be the voters and who would be the candidates, okay, what way the election campaign would go, okay, all these things, okay, were to be introduced in the country, because before that country had been facing the challenge of the slavery under the British rule for almost 200 years, is it? So that's why it was quite difficult for Indians to adopt democracy at once. Is it? Okay. So now we are going to discuss the third challenge. The third challenge before the independent India was, just a minute. Second challenge was to shape, to establish democratic system, democratic practices on ground. And third challenge was to bring in development in India. Edge of Western world. So, as we had discussed the first challenge, then we went to the second challenge, and now we are moving to the third challenge. Okay, the third challenge before the independent India was to bring in development in India. Okay, so in 1947 it was the third challenge to establish the development edge of the Western world. You all have studied in your junior classes, you all have understood the Second World War crisis, dropping up of the bombs, atom bombs by America on Japan. Okay, you have studied that all. Okay, so that all showed military preparedness as well as their economic growth. Is it? Yet in India, which had just been freed in 1947, had to fight with poverty, had to come out of starvation, had to establish the infra for the industries. Okay, had to run the growth for industries. Okay, that all to be existed in the country by that time. So this was the third most challenge before independent India. Clear? Okay, so all these challenges had to be taken, had to be dealt with, okay, had to be discussed, had to be somehow faced. Okay, clear? So this was the situation before the country just after 1947. Okay, okay. So dear learners, we had discussed the challenges before India on 15th August 1947. I had told you about the three major challenges. We are going to discuss these three challenges in these three continuous lessons. Okay, in lesson number 1, you will be studying about the challenge number 1 in detail. Okay, whatever the parts of that we will discuss in the lesson number 1 itself. Okay, chapter number 2 would be discussing, would be elaborating, would be about the understanding all those events which include challenge number 2. Is it? That was about the democratic practices. Clear? The challenges before independent India regarding establishment of the democratic system in country. Okay, that would be dealt by chapter number 2. Okay, and the third challenge, which is about development. Okay, means what kind of economic patterns India accepted, what kind of challenges India faced, what were the controversies regarding the development in the early years, that we would discuss in chapter number 3. Is it? We would be studying these 3 chapters in sequence only, though this year in syllabus lessons have been means some sequence have been some new topics have been added that would be told to you directly with the lesson. Okay, you have not to you need not to worry about that. Okay, so we move ahead. Okay, so in lesson number 1 we are going to study about the details of challenge number 1, that was about the shaping of the united country. Okay, we'll discuss that particularly in this lesson. Okay, let us. First and foremost thing, when we start this topic, is that I clear you that what was the situation in 1947. Okay, you all know that on 15th August 1947, not one but 2 nations came in existence. Okay, India's independence took place with the partition of the country. Is it clear? So we'll discuss about that first, because it would be providing you a background that how serious was the situation in 1947, 1950 or till 1955. What was the actual problem? You will realize it. To make you that realization, to give you that realization, we are going to study the process of partition first. On 14th and 15th August 1947, not one but 2 countries came into existence. One was India and other was Pakistan. Clear? Now, how Pakistan was created? Okay, behind that there was a concept. Okay, what was that? It was the concept of two nation theory. What was this? Many of the times this had been asked directly in the exams. Okay, many of the times. Okay, what was two nation theory? First of all, this theory was proposed by Muslim League. Okay, Muslim League, as you have studied in the class 10th as well as in class 11th also, that it was the prominent party for Muslims. Okay, they proposed a theory. They were always against Congress. They always talk in context to Muslims only. Okay, they especially supported the two-nation theory, and according to which two-nation theory, what is the two-nation theory? Two-nation theory says that India is the land of two communities. One is Hindus and another is Muslims, and therefore, if India's independence is declared, there shall be the partition of the country. One part should be given to the Muslims, and other rest should go with Hindus. Is it okay? That was the two-nation theory in simple words. First thing. Okay. So they wanted that all those areas which had the Muslim majority should make the part of Pakistan. In simple words, they wanted to make a nation, Pakistan. Pak means holy, Pavit. Sthan means place. They wanted to make a place, holy place, only for Muslims. Muslim League proposed this theory, which said that India is the land of two communities. Okay, these two communities are Hindus and Muslims. So, if country is going to be declared as independent, there shall be the partition of the country. Okay, all those parts which are having Muslim majority areas should be made the part of Pakistan, should be declared as the province of Pakistan. Okay, and rest should go with Hindus. Okay, that would be Hindustan. Very simple. Okay, so two-nation theory, one was directly reflecting for the partition of the country. Means there shall be two parts of the country, one for the Muslims, that would be declared as the Pakistan, and rest would go for Hindus, that would be Hindustan, Hindus place. Clear? Now, as obvious, the dominant party, the majority party, the most popular party of that time, Congress, opposed this theory. Okay, right from its beginning. Okay, they opposed this theory right from its beginning. But okay, Muslim League started creating hindrances, started creating troubles in the working of the Constituent Assembly itself. Okay, they started boycotting, they started protesting, they started dharnas all over the country, they started organizing the Muslims for the demand of Pakistan. Okay, so finally Congress had to go ahead, Congress had to accept the proposal of Muslim League. Clear? So this was the situation. So, one more thing is there, that Britishers had always the policy of divide and rule. Okay, they found that now they had to leave the country, so they agreed upon the Muslim League's two-nation theory. Okay, clear? Furthermore, they added something in it. What was that? They said that all those areas which are Muslim majority areas, okay, especially there were two areas in that type of India, in that time of India, there were two areas which had Muslim majority. One was in present age east to India, okay, just consider this. Just consider it as India's map, okay. At that time there was two areas, okay, which were having the Muslim majority, okay. One was east of the India, presently it is considered as Bangladesh, okay, and rest was to the west of India, presently it is Pakistan. In those days it was considered West Pakistan and that was considered East Pakistan. So these were the two areas which had the Muslim majority in those times. Muslim majority, I said Muslim majority. There had been the Hindu population also, there had been some Buddhist and Christian and mixed population also, but Muslims were in majority in these two areas. One was in east to present India, that is present day Bangladesh, and rest was in the west, okay, it is the present day Pakistan. Okay, clear? So, Britishers also had agreed upon that India would be divided, two nation theory would be accepted, okay, Pakistan would be created, okay, and Pakistan would be made up of all those areas which are having Muslim majority. Clear? Clear? They had agreed upon. Agree? Okay, so on that basis, Pakistan would be created, okay, that was agreed upon by the Britishers, okay, Pakistan would be created and it would be including all those areas which are having Muslim majority. And those times there had been two areas, one was in east, present day India, okay, it was presently it is called Bangladesh, okay, and rest was in the west, it is still Pakistan. Clear? Okay. Okay, so other than these two areas, there had been some areas in which Muslims were living as of today. Okay, in Rajasthan also, in Maharashtra also, in Kerala also, in UP also, there had been Muslims. Clear? So now what would happen if Pakistan is being created? Okay, on the basis of Muslim majority, Hindus or the non-Muslims, especially Sindhis who had been living in the Sindh area, would be troubled and forced by the Muslims to leave that area. Likewise, those Muslims who were living in the UP, Maharashtra, Bengal, Karnataka, okay, that too would be troubled by Hindus. Clear? So a tragic transfer of population would be taking place. It's obvious. Is it clear? Okay, so I was just clearing you the process of partition, means what was done and why it was done, and what was suggested by Muslim League and what was accepted by the Britishers. Okay, that I had cleared you. Clear? Now one more thing. One question would come to you in your mind that were all the Muslims agreed upon this type of issue? No. No. Not all the Muslims were agreed upon this type of concept or this two nation theory. One among them was Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. He was a veteran Gandhi. He opposed the two nation theory right from the day one. Okay, he was supporter of the Gandhian concept. Okay, he was supporter of non-violence. Okay, so as actually he belonged from the northwestern frontier province of that time. Northwestern frontier province of that time, which is present-day Pakistan. Clear? In Britishers' time, the present-day Punjab, present-day Pakistan's part were being called as Northwestern Frontier Province. Okay, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was a prominent leader of that time from this province. Okay, clear? He opposed the two nation theory. Okay, he wanted that Muslims should continue with the Hindus. Okay, India should be united, but his voice was simply ignored. Okay, he was neglected. Okay, clear? Agree? Okay. So I told you about Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. One more important thing about Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan is that he was also known as Frontier Gandhi. Frontier Gandhi. It is his other name. Many of the times it has been asked. Clear? Why Frontier? Because he was from northwestern frontier province. Why Gandhi? Because he had been the strict follower, sincere follower of Gandhian concept. That's why he also known in history, in Indian history, by the name of Frontier Gandhi. Is that okay? Clear? Now, okay. In the making up of the nation, we had discussed the problem of Hindus and Muslims. Clear? Now, just see. On the basis of two-nation theory, if on the basis of two-nation theory, Pakistan and Hindustan are created, what would be the first and foremost problem? As I told you that these two Muslim majority areas were having significant population of Hindus also. A good number of population of the non-Muslims in these two parts. What would be happening? Definitely they would be troubled by the Muslims, because now they would consider this area as their land. They would be troubling the Hindus to go to the Hindustan. Okay, so they started attacking on these non-Muslim populations who had been living in the newly created Pakistan. Is it okay? So Hindus, Sindhis, Buddhists who had been living in West Pakistan or East Pakistan were being troubled by the Muslims. Okay. Likewise, it happened to Muslims in the Hindu majority areas of Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, UP, and other parts of the country. Clear? So, religious basis violence started taking place right from 15th August. Is it? People who had been living together for centuries, okay, started observing each other on the basis of religion, started targeting each other on the basis of religion. So religious violence started taking place on both sides of the border, not only in Pakistan, in Hindustan as well. You would have seen such type of scenes, such type of violent scenes in some of the movies like of Gadar, like Earth 1947, like many of the other movies too. Okay, and these were true scenes. Okay, clear, and especially the targets, especially the violence was faced by the minorities on both sides of border, may they be Hindus or the Muslims or the Buddhists. And in these minorities too, the most important targets were women, were children, were old and sick. Okay, clear? So that we would discuss. Okay. So now we move to the consequence of partition. So with this, I have cleared you about the process of partition. I have cleared you about the two-nation theory. I had told you that how Pakistan was created. Okay, why Pakistan was created, half to the east of India and half to the west of India. That I have cleared you. It was created on the basis of Muslim majority. Okay, I have also told you about the other two challenges which was faced by India. Okay, in this lesson we are going to discuss in detail about the first challenge, that is the nation building. Okay, that was the unification of the country. So before going ahead, I had cleared you the partition of the country in detail. Okay, now in the next video we will be observing how unification or the merger of the princely states was being done in independent India. Okay. Thank you everyone.